Hi guys, it's Nim here. I just wanted to do a quick video on the Goblin software and how I use it, and probably the main section of code that I use for 99% of all gaming I do. There's a whole lot of other stuff that the Goblin software does, which we can go through in later videos or later chats. But I know a lot of you are going to ask me how I do it, so I thought I'd make this quick video. So you can see I've got the Goblin software open here. I've got the routine editor and the global variables screen open. This bit of code here, let's jump straight into it. This fine bitmap code is, again, how I do 99% of my gaming. I've been using it for, I don't know, Christ, 15 years. Never had an issue, never been caught, never been banned, and pretty much botted the whole of Black Desert Online, if any of you know how much of a grind that was. And it was all done with pixel monitoring. But not pixel monitoring through the pixel monitoring option that's here, all done through this section of code. So let's kick it off, and I'll just quickly show and explain how this works if you don't know. Basically, this bit of code is looking in C drive, and I've got a file on there called AOC, which is Ashes of Creation, which I've been currently playing, and it's currently looking for the test.bmp file, and it's going to be looking for it at these coordinates, X, Y, H, and W, which I'll show you more about shortly. But first of all, let's create the bitmap. So I'm going to close that, just jump here to another screen. You'll see here I've got the GIMP software, GIMP software, which I use. It's free, and it's basically free Photoshop. It's fantastic for doing what I'm doing with creating bitmaps. You can see I've got a screenshot here of the Ashes of Creation screen. Obviously, the server's down at the moment, so I'm just using a screenshot. I can't actually use the actual game. Scrolling in here, I'm going to take a screenshot of this icon, which is my shield bash for my tank. This icon, when you're taking screenshots, you just need to consider what's going to be true or false when you want the macro to fire. So for example, I want this macro to fire when this ability is ready. In Ashes of Creation, there's a little shadowed clock showing the global cooldown and all the cooldowns of the spells. So I'm just going to take a quick screenshot of this area, because I know when this looks like this, the spell is going to be available for me to cast. So I'm just going to quickly export that as a bitmap. So I'm just going to go into my C drive. You can see here I've got somewhere in here. Oh, I see. Hang on. It's not order. Here we go. Here's my bitmaps. You can see I've already got a whole lot of them in here. But I'm going to put this in as Shield Bash 1, because I think I've already got a Shield Bash in there. So I'm just going to export that. When you export it, just double check your advanced options. You want it set to 32-bit, the first option here. So I'm just going to export that. And just to show you what it looks like in your file system. So there's the file system, and there is all the screenshots I've got of all the icons and things that I use within the game. And you can see there's Shield Bash 1. That's the one we just saved. So I'll drop that out of the way, and then we'll head back over to the software. So within the software, I've got my Shield Bash global variable selected, and basically that's going to, row 3 is going to, via the bitmap lookup, and if it's true, i.e. it finds the bitmap and it's not on cooldown, it will basically turn the shield bash, which is a boolean, into true. And then the very simple logic here says if shield bash is true, then do something. In this case, it's animate a mouse move. Now I'm just going to update this, because this is a little test code I've got. I'm just going to change this to shield bash. Shield bash. Oh, spelled that wrong. Shield bash 1. Dot bitmap. and the XYZ is the location of it. So I'm just going to click OK on that, and we're going to go back to the main screen. Now on the main screen, now if this was the actual video game we were playing, obviously this would be not sitting in a bit of software and be the whole screen. But essentially what you would do is you would get the coordinates of the window where the game is that you want to look. So for me, I would choose this whole section here. And then this whole section is where I'd be looking for this this bitmap or this particular image that I saved. So this would be your XY, which is the starting point, and then the width by the height. So for example, if we go back to my system here, now again, if I actually had if the game was live at the moment, I'd do this for real. But X, for example, and I'm actually guessing this, but X, for example, might be 2,425, which is my start point on the X-axis. On the Y-axis, I don't know. Again, I'm guessing this number. It looks like it might be on a 1440 screen. It might be about 1100. And the width of the window I want to look at is, I don't know. Again, I'm guessing 500 pixels wide, and I want it to be 250 pixels high. Now, the best way to do that is when you're in game, you actually open the pixel monitor here. And I normally have a little test one here. I'll just quickly set one up. And then you can go to monitoring area of pixels, click on the little mouse button here, and I will just open the main screen up again. Click off of that. And when you do that, you can then highlight this section. Back again. And you can see here in the pixel monitor, it's actually telling me exactly what the coordinates are. So my X and Y coordinates, which you would put in up here, and put in over here in your global variables, and then the width. You can see I wasn't too far out. So that's making the little bit of code look at that whole hotbar system I've got, if you like. Now the reason I do it, the X, Y, H, W here in the global variables, is I'll have, as you can see from the game, 30 icons I wanted to monitor for 100 different reasons. So by having the global variables set up, you can just type when you're setting up multiples of these, like 20 or 30 of these little bits of code, you can just type in X, Y, H, W. Don't need to keep typing in the numbers. Now, the other important bit of code in here is the 0. Now, this 0 is basically the variation of pixel color. And I would generally set this at 15 to 20. So it allows the colors to vary on an RGB basis by 15 points, if you like. If you set it to 0, which you absolutely can do, there is no leeway. Set it to 30 or 40, which I've done as well occasionally, depending on the game or the or what it is I'm monitoring. You might want it to be a little bit more relaxed about the exact colors it's looking at, or the variance of color that I'm looking at. But generally 15 to 20s is fine. 100 always stays at 100. The speech mask, I've never been able to get that to work. It allows you to put in different colors and shapes, but I don't think that part of this bit of code ever actually worked. And you can see I've got it setting to a couple of local variables up here, which is just VRX and VY. And that's literally it. So if we were to run this macro, it would look in the area of those hotbars. It would look to see if the shield bash icon was true. If it was, it would do what I wanted it to do. And in this case, it would move. But obviously, normally here, I'd be saying press the number 1 button. That's how I do 99% of my macros. And I'll just close this down. And show you a quick look at my current AOC So for my combat and for monitoring, so generally what I'll do is for combat monitoring, you can see here I've got all my monitors looking at all the things I need it to look at from a bitmap point of view, and I've got it separated into tank, bard, or warrior. This runs every 50, 100 milliseconds in the background and checks all these icons. While that's doing that, my main combat, for example, my tank is running, and it's looking at through these conditions: loot while, if desolate equals true, if shield slam equals true, press this button, if intercept equals true. And via a hotkey on my gamepad, this macro runs probably every 200 to 300 milliseconds, and that's pretty much one button combat. You can get into great details with these by doing weapon combos. So if this and that equal true, then do this. If that equals false, but that equals true, do this. There's 1,000 different ways you can set this up. But that's it. My little quick video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it either teaches you something, teaches you nothing, or at least prompts you to ask 1,000 questions. Cheers, guys.